Welcome. We are excited to provide this opportunity for our alumni to hear from new UNK coaches. Today we'll be catching up with UNK tennis coach Scott Shafer here in the beautiful new Ernest Grundy Tennis Center. You can also find the interviews with the softball, track and field, and golf coaches on our social media. Scott Shafer joined the UNK tennis program in the summer of 2013. He served as the top assistant for UNK for 6 years before being elevated to head coach in the summer of 2019. Coach Shafer's teams have reached the NCAA tournament multiple times, with several players earning individual honors. Coach Shafer is a United States Professional Tennis Association teaching pro and is a teaching professional with the Kearney Tennis Association. Welcome, Coach Scott Shafer. Your team has already kicked off the spring season here at UNK. First, let's take a step back and tell us a little bit about how the 22 season went, and then give us a preview of what to expect for this coming spring.
Great. Yeah, last year was a good year for us. It was a young team. I had 5 freshmen on the team, and out of the 6 who played most matches, 4 of them were freshmen. So there was a lot of learning going on. I'd also scheduled them a pretty competitive schedule for the year, and it turned out really well. We ended up with 10 losses with 11 wins, but it's somewhat misleading when you look at it because all 10 of our losses were against nationally ranked teams. Another wonderful thing that happened last year after a great start is we achieved our highest national ranking ever. In the 47 years we've had women's tennis here, the computer spit us out in February at number 13 in the nation. Right after that, we had a couple, 3 losses in a row, and pretty much the whole season we stayed in the top 25. So it was just amazing to be able to, achieve that. Building on that this year, we only have one new player on the team, so everyone is returning. I have 2 juniors that play at the top of the lineup. Both Melissa Becerra and Jasmine Zamorano are back. They play 1 doubles together. And they're my number 1 and 2 singles players. And, they are great leaders and obviously are great tennis players and have a lot of experience.
So what's your spring season look like? We're in this great new facility here at UNK. I know you get to host some here. What's that? What's your schedule kind of look like for the year?
Well, right. This is the first time I can tell you that our spring season looks very different because of this very building we're sitting in. Typically, I'm on the road in February, at least 2 or 3 weekends to kickstart our season, which does coincidentally begin the 1st of February. However, this year, we don't travel in February because we have 3 weekends in which we will be hosting teams here. We just finished one this weekend and the previous weekend, and on both of those weekends we had 7 different teams here. I invited the coaches who often share the role of men's and women's coach to bring their men's programs. So we had men's matches here, women's matches, and again there was 8 teams the first weekend and the following weekend. And at the end of February we hosted the ITA Indoor National Championships. This is an event that's kind of new. It's about 4 or 5 years old, and it's amazing because it invites the 7 teams that finished with the highest national ranking last year. So we had Barry University, the number 1 team in the nation here, from Florida, as well as 2 other schools from Florida, a school from Hawaii, UCO from our conference, North Georgia from Georgia, and UIndy from Indianapolis. So by being the host, we got to participate as well as the 8th team. It's a 3-day event. And, I'd say right now, I had a lot of assistance from very generous people to help fund this event because there was a lot of costs associated with it. But it's very much was worth it because the feedback from anyone who walks in this building who knows college tennis and knows the facilities that are out there are absolutely blown away. In fact, someone the other day joked that he needed to put sunscreen on to be in here because the lighting is so good. So it was great to have that event here, and we will host it again next year. And hopefully we will have an even stronger team here when we play again next year.
You mentioned one of your competitors from the MIAA conference. Tell us a little bit about what the conference competition is going to look like this year.
Yeah, the MIAA, I feel, at least in our sport, is a great conference. It's very well organized, and really good level competition and a lot of parity in our conference. So when we came out with the preseason poll, they put us at fifth, and I can't argue with that because I know that the 2, 3, and 4 teams are teams that we played last year and lost 4-3. So that's as close as you can get. I'm optimistic that we can do better than what was picked for us. But at the same time, I know, how good the teams are in our conference. UCO had a great year last year, finishing second in the nation, I believe. So they're a little bit down this year, so that gives us all a little bit more hope in the conference. So I think it's going to be wide open. We don't really kick off our conference schedule until after spring break. So, having these matches in February and early March are definitely getting us ready for that.
So obviously having a space like this is an advantage to you. Are there any other schools in the conference that have a facility like this?
In Edmond at UCO, the city of Edmond built a 24 outdoor court facility that has 6 indoor courts, and that opened during COVID in 2020. It's not theirs per se. I don't even know how far away it is from their campus, but they definitely practice there and are welcome there. But it's not the same as this, where it's a 10-minute bike ride, a 5-minute bike ride, or a 10-minute walk from campus. And furthermore, UCO, I'm assuming, I know it's true, they had to pay court fees. So that alone is huge. And as we're going to talk about men's tennis with recruiting, and even recruiting women's tennis, as I often remind them that through the app that they can put on their phone, they can reserve courts here for free to get extra practice. Tennis players love to practice, and our team practices are great, but they know if they want to achieve the goals that they have in mind, they're going to have to do a little bit extra.
Can you tell us a little bit about the partnership that helped create this complex?
Well, probably not the best to go into the details with it, but I know that we are fortunate to have the city of Kearney as a partner for us with this, at least from my perspective. When I first heard about this idea years ago, there was always this idea or question is, who's going to manage the facility? And I'm pretty busy as a father and a coach with all that goes into that, and adding men's tennis, I don't even know where I'd find the hours in the day to be able to manage something like this. So having the city here providing programming for young kids and adults, it's something the city's been lacking for a long time, at least in an indoor winter type setting. So to be able to have the city managing all of that, it's been great. And in terms of working with them, with scheduling our matches and bringing the other teams, they've been nothing but helpful in trying to get more usage out of this facility.
So you mentioned a little bit about something new that's on the horizon here at UNK.
Yeah, that's going to be the reintroduction of the men's tennis program, which had a 4-year hiatus, but we're back. And I was here 4 years ago, for 6 years as the assistant coach with the men. And I remember the last day that we played together in 2018, and it was a hard day. It's been great just working with the women since then, but I'm very excited to have the men's program back. And, the idea is, bring back a team that's competitive, because this community, as we've been discussing with all the programming going on here, that would benefit from having, a men's program as well. So far I've been working and trying to create a whole new team from nothing. I often joke it's literally like playing fantasy football. I have a budget and I can only take so many people. So with that, I do a lot of research and being very patient and trying to identify, the right level of talent and the right, hopefully, type of young man that would be a good addition to our campus. So far I have 4 signed, and the goal is to have between 8 and 10 for when we get started in the fall.
Well, very good. Thank you so much for joining us today, Coach Shafer.
Yeah, thank you.